Hi and welcome back. I am James Betzold and I am going to be telling you today a little bit about Gmail and how to use it with Zapier and Prima.Law. So as you can see on the slides behind me, G Suite is one of the best apps to use with Zapier and Prima to integrate into your workflow. Now there may be some of you who are saying, well, I only use Microsoft, I only use Outlook, I only use Office 365. Same principle, all right? Same principles apply. You can do the same thing you can here with that. So stay tuned, pay attention. All right, and that's the Google Gmail logo, of course. But let's talk about some possible automations that you can work in your workflow using Gmail, Zapier, and Prima.Law. So first of all, let's say that you create a new client or a new contact in Prima. Well, you can automatically trigger the sending of a welcome email. So typically you're going to make a contact when you're doing a consultation for someone. So if you want to give them some background information to build credibility for your firm and to give reasons that they are actually should be willing to pay your exorbitant consultation fee, do that. Give them information. You can attach a document to that as well. So you can send one of your flyers or an ad or a your rights card or things like that. But it's helpful for marketing purposes and to build credibility. The other thing you can do is when you create a new case, right? So now they've signed up to actually be one of your clients. You're going to be actively working a case for them. There might be some different information you'd like to send about maybe what's the name of the WhatsApp group that they can join as your customer, or if you have a Slack channel, or if you have other means of communication that you use to make things easier for your client, you can do it through that. You could even attach a checklist to it. So you could set up automations for the most common types of cases you handle, and you could automatically include that checklist with it. When a task is assigned, so these are all different triggers in Prima you can use to trigger something useful in Gmail. So if a task is assigned to someone in your firm, and you think that they might not be logged in today, or they might not log in until tomorrow, you can actually turn that into email as well. So they have another mode of notification. So if they've got one of these silly things, they'll get that little pop-up that says, hey, you've got a task that's been assigned to you. Here's the case. Here's the details. And of course, when the task is completed, you know, if you have a manager in your office, or if you want to notify the notifications email that you have set up for your firm, you could do that as well. And of course, you could also send a notification to a Slack channel or things like that. But we're talking about emails right now. So when a phone call is assigned or commented on, this is another situation where maybe you actually want to send an email just so there's another record of that happening in your firm. So with a phone call inside of Prima, if you don't know, we have what we call the phone call module, where if somebody calls your firm, it's a place right away they can quickly add a record, and they can assign it to someone, and you can make comments on it, and you can ping pong those back and forth. This would be just a notification to get you into that. If this may be assigned to someone who's not going to be sitting at their desk all day, and they do get notifications through their email account, their Gmail account. Okay, so we talked about some of the actions that you can use with Gmail, but what about triggers? And I think, yeah, we automated this out of order here. So when an email is received from a client, you can actually set up these triggers inside of Gmail where you can say, all right, when I get an email in this account and it's from, you know, whatever email address, I want you to search inside Prima and see if I have a customer with that and if they have a case, and then I want to send them this type of email, or I want to assign a task then inside of Prima to one of my staff. So automatically it shows up in their to-do list, hey, call this person back and give them this information. It's one less thing your receptionist would have to do then. If they're monitoring that email box. If an email is received from a client, yeah, there's a special Zapier trigger for that where you can set up those triggers with specific filters in mind. And of course, you could then have it send a Slack notification. So not something in Prima, but something useful that you could do with Gmail. Remember, so you can use the fact that a new email arrives in Gmail as a trigger for actions in any of the other apps that they integrate with. And if your firm is using Slack for firm or team notifications, that's a great way of handling that. And okay, so that's the end of the slides. Let's jump right back into Zapier then. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to run through a sample. We're going to create a trigger for Gmail. So let's search for our Gmail app here. And we're going to use, we could use an email matching search, but I'd like to take it a little more granular. I'm just going to say whenever there's a new email, we want that to trigger this action. We're going to use this email account. And we're going to edit options. So we're going to use we're not going to specify a label or specify a mailbox. Now, if you have, set up labels for all of your contacts who are customers or things like that, there's, some more stuff you can do here. But for now, we're just going to go forward. All right. Now we're going to pick a sample. It'll be email A. That's fine. Now let's add a step. Let's add a filter. Filter. No, but it's not a filter we need. Filters are fine. Let's delete this. You really delete? Yes. All right, we actually want to add a step, which is an action in Prima.Law. And we're actually going to scroll all the way down to the search feature here. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to pull that email and we're going to run a search to see if that email that we're receiving from that email address, if that matches a contact inside of Prima. So let's edit the options. The search is going to happen by email. So from our email address here, let's look at Prima. This is going to be the 2 emails. This is going to be, we need a from email. I wonder if we can just search. Sometimes you can search from email. All right, so that's the email address it's from. And we'll click continue. Okay. Fetch and continue. It's going to say it doesn't find anything because I don't have a contact with that funky long email address. That's okay. Nothing could be found. That's fine, because what we'll do is now we add a filter where we say only proceed forward with this zap if there's a contact in Prima that matches. And the way we can do that is we can use the Prima ID. So let's go to the search contact. When it searches for a contact, it's going to come up with these items. And we want to find contact ID. Okay? So only if contact ID exists. Because if there's a contact ID that exists, that means that there's a contact that matches that email address that we just searched for. And we want the process to continue. Continue. Okay, so now we need to add our action step. And the action step is going to be in Prima.Law. And it's going to be create a new task. Right here. And continue. And we're going to use this account. I wonder if I used the right account before. Let's check. A little more confusing for me because I've got multiple accounts, but we're going to go here to Prima. Search contact. Yeah, I was right. This account. Save and continue. All right, we're good to go on that. So when we create the task, let's set up our template. What do we want the subject of the task to be? Well, for everyone, let's call it email received from, and now using these drop-down fields here, we can choose the variable information, the piece of information that might change with every email. So we'll select the field. We're going to choose their full name. Okay, and the priority. By default, let's do to email, so not an emergency, but it might be high. So each of these emails, or each of these tasks that get created are going to be high priority. We're not going to add a case ID, but we're going to add the contact ID. And again, we found that before. We come here. Actually, the quickest way to do that is to search contact ID. Am I right? Yeah, contact ID. Here we go. All right, so now we need to assign a user ID number to the person who it's going to be assigned to. So every user in your firm has an ID number. They start with 1, they go up to however many you have. So for this purpose here, we're going to use ID number 1. Now this is a number that as we speak, I don't think you can see it, but we're going to be adding it to the administrator panel where you can see your list of users. You'll see their ID number there as well. So when you're assigning static items like this, you can just put in their number. Regarding is going to be optional date. We can actually pull the date from the email. So let's, this format ought to work. So let's leave that and we'll click continue. All right, so we need to take care of some issues. I think because we didn't pull in the sample data. Subject, priority. Okay, so now that we're properly set up here, we generated an email that's going to go to a contact so we can get the Zap set up originally here. All right, so test successful. We're going to continue. We're done with this search step here. Let's go to the filter. Filter is only going to continue if that email for the contact, or if the contact ID from the prior step exists. Otherwise, it just terminates. And then we're going to go to create this new task. Let's edit the template here. We'll look at this again. Subject, priority, contact ID. These are all filled in fields now. It's assigned to ID. That's got 1. I got a date. And now we can continue. And since we still have an issue with step 3, the filter here. Oh, maybe because we didn't test it? There, okay, continue. Let's go. All right, now, do we want to turn on our Zap? Yes. So we turn on the Zap, and now, every time we get an email, it's going to search to see if there is a customer who has that email, and then it will create a task assigned to user number 1 to go and take care of those things, or take care of that client. All right, but we put it together, see? A few steps, a little bit of logic, a little bit of preparation. So whenever you're running a sample through, you want it to be one that's actually going to run so that Zapier can test every single step out so that these will work every time. All right, and that's how easy it is to set up Zapier with your Gmail and your Prima Facie account to automate more things in your workflow. Some people may ask, well, why is it so complicated? It's not. It's just setting things up using some simple logic statements. You could find a high schooler in your community who could help you out with that, or a nephew or someone. Great. So my name is James. Have a great day, and come back for more. We're going to be talking about more apps that you can use in your workflow and ways that you can automate.